almost didn't notice this pattern in myself because the thoughts sounded so reasonable. And the thoughts sounded like, I don't want to burden anyone. They're probably busy. And then it probably won't actually help anyway. None of those thoughts sounded like I have to do everything myself. But over time, they quietly became the reason I was carrying a lot of hard things by myself. And the thing that surprised me most was realizing there's a big difference between believing in support, which I do, and letting myself lean on it. If you're a mom and you've ever found yourself managing the hard stuff alone, not because you have to, but because it feels easier than asking, I want to talk about what's actually happening here. Because it has a name, and once you see it, it's hard to unsee it. Fawning is a nervous system response, the lesser known cousin of fight, flight, and freeze. Instead of confronting or running, you appease. You attune carefully to everyone around you and make sure that their needs are met, often before you've even checked in and considered yourself. For many women, this pattern started long before motherhood. It developed in environments where being agreeable, peaceful, easy, and attuned felt like the safest way to stay connected. And then you had kids, 1, 2 small little humans whose distress is real, whose nervous system is incredibly co-regulating with yours. So you don't just abandon yourself. It feels like you have very good reason to do that. Your burnout likely doesn't look like total collapse. It probably looks like competence because you're showing up, you're anticipating people's needs, managing the emotional temperature, problem solving, saying yes to things. So from the outside, everything appears to be working. And underneath, maybe you feel really tired, resentful, flat, but you wouldn't necessarily call it burnout because in your mind, burnout is what happens when things completely fall apart. You completely go unhinged, and you haven't. That gap between how you appear and how you actually feel is one of the quietest hallmarks of fawning burnout. And it's likely the reason why you're often the last to recognize it in yourself. So underneath all of it, there's often a belief that so familiar, it doesn't even feel like a belief anymore. It just feels like your truth, which is my needs and my children's needs cannot coexist. Now, this is not a conscious thought. This isn't something you're hearing yourself saying. This is just a background operating system that's running quietly. So when you're exhausted, you keep going because they need you. When you want to ask for help, you don't because it feels harder than doing it yourself. When you finally get a quiet moment, you feel it because stillness feels selfish when someone else is still struggling. So the first step toward changing it is being able to see it clearly enough to ask, is this actually true? Or is this just what I learned? This week, when you notice yourself about to manage something hard alone, pause and ask, am I doing this because there's truly no one? Or because asking feels harder than doing it myself? You don't have to necessarily ask for help, though please do if that feels useful. But the most important thing for this week is to start with noticing what's driving your choices so you can be more intentional and come from a place that's not about old circuitry, but what the life is that you want to have more of. That awareness starts to create a little space between the pattern and the automatic response. I want to end with this. Our children grow up watching how we care for ourselves, learning without anyone saying a word what love is supposed to look like. This pattern, it doesn't have to keep running. I'm Nicole. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and this is the work that I do with moms, with women who carry everything, with people who believe in support and still find themselves doing it alone. If you're in California or Nevada and ready to work on this, I have a few spots open. The consultation is free, it's 20 minutes, and the link is in the description below. Subscribing is also the best way to catch next week's video. I'll see you then.